Hey, everybody, and thanks for joining us on the Be Better Everyday podcast as we explore what it means to grow, improve, and show up for ourselves daily. Together, we'll share our journey to be better one step at a time. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Let's grow together. I'm your host, Josh, here with Mac.
Hey, Josh.
What's going on, man?
Just another day in paradise.
Yeah, just the third attempt on starting this podcast.
It is the third attempt.
Hopefully we'll sound better than the first episode we put out, which I think is going to be easily done with our little bit better equipment.
Yeah, we did make a small investment in new equipment, and I think it's money well spent.
Yeah, like I said, everything is twice as thick or twice as heavy as the first Black Friday sales.
So those of you that have listened to the first podcast or went back and listened to the first podcast and are still here with us on the second, thank you. We appreciate your patience.
And that's what we're working on. We're being better.
Be better every day.
Be better every podcast.
That's right.
So, I think today we're going to talk about the holidays since they're right here and talk about some things you can do for your mental health to help. We're going to share some of our favorite Christmas time stories, things that we do, traditions we have. So I say we have fun first.
Yeah, what's the best Christmas gift you ever got? Like that one gift that you remember that stands out in your mind?
I don't know. Probably, I don't know, my mind goes basketball hoop or bicycles.
Oh, bikes were always, you got the, when you came downstairs or we came into the living room and you saw a bike in there.
Yeah. Or if your present was too big to fit in a Santa bag.
Oh, yeah.
It was, it was good Christmas.
Exactly.
Let's see. I would say bikes probably because I was tearing up bikes until I drove a car. I was like piecing different bikes together. So anytime I got a new bike, it was awesome.
And I can imagine the way you tinker with cars now. The bikes were no different. And that's a good place for kids to start.
It was kind of the same deal as it is with cars. You got to fix it. You can't afford new stuff, so you got to fix it.
Exactly.
What's your favorite Christmas gift?
My grandparents, we would do Christmas at our house in the morning with my parents and my sisters. And then about 9:30 or so, we would go over to my grandparents' house and we would have breakfast over there. And they would always have like a U-Crops pecan Danish thing out, and we'd have eggs and bacon and sausage. These fried apples my grandpa made that I wish I'd gotten the recipe for, but I'm pretty sure they came out of a can. He just churched them up a little bit. And then we'd go into the Florida room where they had their little Christmas tree, and they had these bags for us. They didn't ever wrap anything. They would always just pull our gifts out of our bags. And I remember getting the Nintendo. The Nintendo with like the original Mario, Super Mario, and then the had the duck hunt with the gun in there that I still am not sure how it worked on those old televisions. But when that
woof, woof, woof.
Exactly. When that Nintendo came out of the bag, you want to talk about the happiest kid?
Yeah, dude. Now I would say like overall, it's like watching Nate open Christmas is like more exciting than I can remember feeling when I was younger, you know?
Exactly. They always say
crazy.
It's always better to give than to receive, and you think that like that's not true because getting gifts is awesome. But as a parent, like when you see your kids light up on Christmas morning, it makes every hour that you spent putting those things together. I remember one time my daughter got a Disney princess castle, and it was like, I don't know, 4 feet tall, and it had 3 different layers, like 3 different levels to it, and it was wood and it had the tiniest screws that you had to put into it. It took me hours to put together, and I'm just about finishing it off when I realized the second story is on upside down. So I had to literally go back and like flip this thing around, and now when I put things together, I definitely have to. I'm definitely more cautious as to following the instructions.
Why is the roof on in the basement?
Yeah. I should have known better, knowing that I was trying to force screws to line up into these pre-drilled holes that something wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was a little wonky, but I mean, seeing your kids light up when they get something they wanted and they thought that you couldn't get it for them or something like that.
I know. I remember. I remember one year where Nate wanted the Xbox 360 so bad, and I was like, "There's no way we can get it for him." But that's when I was working on the road, and we used all my hotel, well, not all my points, but we used my points to get the Xbox 360. And watching him open that, and then like just having it, watching his mind just go,
Yeah.
like no way. And then I spent the rest of the afternoon kicking his butt on Xbox games.
I think as my kids get older, I am investing more in experiences. So last year, my daughter was 13 at the time, and she was really into this YouTuber named Tommy Innit. He was coming on tour to Washington, D.C., but it wasn't until like April. And she was like, I was like, man, I don't know if we can afford the tickets and stuff like that. And she had it in her mind that she was not going to this show. And she's getting older, so going to these events and stuff like that is way more important than some, $50 gift that she's gonna play with for a little while or use for a little while and then gonna get thrown to the side and forgotten about. Um, so I went online on Poshmark or something like that and found a hoodie from the Tommy in the tour before, and so she opens this gift. It was like the last gift we had given her, or whatever, and she opens it and it's the hoodie, and she puts it on, and I'm like, Ella, go ahead and put your hands in the pockets, and she pulls the tickets out, and I believe she cried. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure she cried. Because we had gone ahead and gotten her, like, it wasn't like the meet and greet, but it was like the question and answer session or whatever, where the entertainers come on stage and a small group of the audience that was sitting up close got to ask questions to the entertainers. So
that's really cool.
But yeah, being a parent and seeing your kids light up on Christmas morning makes every hour of lost sleep. I mean, I'm sure there's times where my wife and I have not slept. Like we're last minute Christmas wrappers.
Oh, you're rapping.
You're rapping at 4 in the morning.
100%.
And you're trying to get everything laid out just right. And we have 3 kids, so we try to separate some of the stuff, and so that they're not all next to each other, on top of each other. But yeah, I mean, just seeing those kids light up that's what it's all about. And I still have one that believes, and so that, like, I'm trying to hold on to that for as long as possible, because she's 8 now, and I know some kids at school are starting to like question things and tell her things, and it's like, just hold on to being innocent for just another year. Let me get one more year out of it.
Dude, me and my sister still believe, because we always told, if you don't believe, you don't receive. So I always believe.
Exactly. And
everyone should, because Santa's real.
The spirit of Santa Claus is so real, because there's things that happen, I know, at least in our household, that definitely should not happen around the holidays.
I know, it's amazing. It's a hard time of the year, but it's also can be super fun and rewarding. And I think it's supposed to remind us what we're supposed to be doing all the time around,
Exactly.
And how we're supposed to treat each other all the time.
What are some, like, traditions that you had as a child growing up?
I don't remember a lot of traditions outside of, like, our family big Christmas. We always had, well, we still do, have a family Christmas, the Teets family Christmas, and pepperoni rolls has always got to happen. So from Thanksgiving to New Year's, it's always pepperoni rolls anytime you go anywhere. My mom cooks breakfast casserole on Christmas Day, and that's always a hit. Always worth showing up for. My sister is going to be different this year, because she normally comes up with a drink for everyone, and we all have a drink Christmas morning. 9, 10 a.m. drinks. That's always good. When she makes I forget what last year was, but it's always some weird Christmas pepperminty
Yeah.
something fun and silly. So she's pregnant now, so I don't think we'll be doing it this year.
Yeah, exactly. No, no alcohol this year.
Considering she's the one that comes up with it. Let's see. Then Jackie's side, we have the same thing, family Christmas, and it's always fun watching the kids rip through stuff, and then us adults start taking stuff apart, putting it together.
Yeah.
Or if like some weapons, like Nerf guns happen, or something cool like that.
Those are awesome.
But we always do like a white elephant Christmas, so you put your stuff in, and everybody fights for the gifts.
Exactly.
My side of the family, we take it. We like to take it to the extreme. Last year, I'm pretty sure a child cried because his mom lost her gift. Let's see. That's always a good time. Is the fight over Christmas presents, and I've always started doing the last few years is I take a gift that I want to leave with, so that way I know that there's going to be something I really want to fight over.
There's we're doing a new thing this year with my mom and my sisters, and families. Is we're doing a Secret Santa this year, like a draw names type thing. Instead of buying like a cheap $5 gift for everybody is really something you don't want, and now you're just buying a gift to just buy a gift, and I feel like that's such a waste of money, and so there's this website that we used called drawnames.com, and basically everything on there is linked to Amazon. You set it up with people's email addresses or cell phone numbers, and then so I organized the whole thing, and I went and put everybody's name and information in, and then when it sends out the invitation, you log on through that link, and you log on through the link, and then you draw a name. And then on top of drawing a name, you can go in there and set up a wish list. And it's like you can pick 5 or 6 things under, and it only gives you items that are under the $25 cap limit that I set, or it could be a $50 cap, whatever you set it as.
Yeah, whatever you set.
And all those things are linked to either Amazon or Walmart, so they're super easy to get delivered to the house. Like the person I had asked for like a portable charger and one of those cell phone holders that goes into your cup holder type thing, like the little arm on the cell phone holder. So I was able to go on Amazon and literally get them within 2 days. And then that person knows that, you don't have to buy something on that list. If you have another idea, something you want to buy for that person, by all means, keep it under the $25 limit. But it allows them, you're only buying one gift, and that person is going to get something that they can use. So something they kind of picked out, but you don't know what they're getting. And some of them are cool ideas, like somebody asked for like LED interior lights for their truck, which is something that he probably would not have gotten otherwise. But now it's something he doesn't want to have to buy himself. The other thing, when I was a kid, some traditions we had. One that we had was we always went to the midnight service at church, which I'm glad our church does not do a midnight service, because I need as much time as possible to get stuff ready for Christmas
Can't go
morning.
in at midnight.
No.
Then I'll be up till 6 a.m.
Praying these kids stay in bed. You're giving kids extra melatonin to make sure they stay asleep just a little bit longer.
I've never done that. I always want to. Maybe this year we'll do it.
But we used to always go to, there was a Chinese restaurant downtown called Joy Garden. It was right on kind of near the Boulevard and Broad Street area down there. And there was the guy's name was Mark that ran it. I'm sure that wasn't his birth name, but that's what we always called him. And he was always super nice to our family. We would order, when we ordered Chinese food as a kid, that's where we ordered it from, Joy Garden. And and then we would go to the restaurant on Christmas Eve. We would have hot tea. We would have Chinese food. One year, Mark was wearing like this holly bow tie that had a little connected to a little 9-volt battery and the little berries on the holly lit up. And I told him how much I liked it. And he gave it to me.
That's awesome.
So we would leave from the Chinese restaurant, and my dad would go and drink gin and tonics. We'd leave from down there, and we'd go ride through the city and look at the Christmas lights that were downtown, and then we'd go to the 11 o'clock service that ended at midnight. It was a candlelight service, and then we would go home, and we would. I can't imagine how exhausted my parents were getting home at 12:30, and then us probably getting up at 6 in the morning.
And then probably staying up till 4 a.m. wrapping presents.
At least. As I get older, my kids' gifts are bigger and require more time to put together and stuff like that. So this year's going to be interesting as to how I hide stuff from them.
Well, what's crazy is technology has made gifts more expensive because electronics are a lot more than going to buy basketball.
Exactly, yeah. If I got a basketball a bike was the big ticket item, you know.
A bike? Give me a mountain bike, bro.
Ooh, shifting gears.
Tried BMX bikes, but would break them all to pieces. And got too big to be riding a mountain, riding a little
Knees
BMX.
hitting the handlebars.
Yeah. Kneeing myself in the chin.
Yeah.
Pow.
But yeah, those were some of the traditions we had as a kid.
I mean, we're lucky where we live at, too, is one of the things we always do is ride around and look at Christmas lights.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, when Nate was growing up, even before Nate, me and Jackie would just wander around and check out lights all the time. Just on a Monday night, a Tuesday night, just go out. Because we're so lucky. They're freaking everywhere around us.
They are. There's big lights. I'm setting up lights this year on my house, and this is kind of the first year I've ever kind of gone more than just like wrapping a set of lights around the banister on our front porch.
Yeah.
This is the first year I've stepped my game up into the LED world, which makes a big difference. And I've gotten some inflatables. The inflatable situation in my house has gotten slightly out of control.
Getting the bug.
But it has made a big difference as just feeling that holiday spirit and seeing the lights on the house and remembering why we celebrate the lights and, the birth of Jesus Christ and the wise men following the star. And so it's important to remember that we remember the reason for the season. It's not about the gifts. It's about the gift of, eternity that we've gotten through Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and being around loved ones and getting to actually love them. And not just being around them because something's gone wrong or something like that.
We have had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with family this year because of tragedy, and with me recently losing my job, but being home with the kids has been such a blessing. Like we've spent so much time together. But even while I'm not supposed to be eating the sweets, my littlest one who's 8, she loves baking. Whether it's Rice Krispie treats or just just the break apart pre-made cookie doughs. She just loves spending time in the kitchen, and I love spending that time with her because those are memories that, when they get older, they're gonna remember. They're not gonna remember everything you did, but they're gonna remember that you spent time with them.
They're not gonna remember all the gifts, just like we couldn't.
Oh, yeah,
we couldn't recall anything but a basketball hoop, some mountain bikes,
a Nintendo. One time I got a radio. I thought that was pretty cool, but I can't remember all the little things.
Yeah, all that stuff kind of falls to the wayside.
But I remember. Going to the restaurant and spending time with my grandparents and I come from a huge family. My mom is one of 9, and I think I have 20 some first cousins, and then once you start talking about their kids, and now my grandmother, who's 93, will be 93 in January, has a great grandchild. There's 5 generations alive at one time right now.
That's what 5 generations.
Exactly. So there's my grandma, there's her daughter Patsy, her son Scott, his son Trip, and his son Trip is in the Army now down in Tennessee, and he has a little one and another little one on the way. So, we're just such, that's part of the reason why I'm as loud as I am. That's the only way you can get heard in a family like that. There's no sitting around a table because we would have to rent out a space to get all of us around one table, but it's just everybody's, the kids are down here playing and wrestling and stuff, and grandma's up there, and everybody goes and makes sure they make their rounds to say hi to Meemaw, and but everybody's kind of spread out, and kind of everybody brings a dish, and the food's amazing. Um, but it's just about spending that time together as a family, and we've gotten to the point where our big family doesn't, because there's so many. My grandmother has so many grandchildren that they have families now and traditions. It's hard to get everybody around at the Christmas time together. So we do like a Christmas in July type thing, um, which is usually like the weekend after the 4th of July. And but we, I always make sure I make it over there to see my grandmother around. She lives out of town, but she's staying in town a lot more because of her health, and so she's staying with my mom and my aunt, and so I go down there to see my mom and definitely get to spend time with Meemaw. So that's what's important.
That's what it's really all about when you boil it down. Be around loved ones. I know I keep saying it, but it's true. Because I remember more, of hanging out with family and getting to see the cousins, or, getting to see aunt and uncle, that you don't see all the time. And, I remember that more than, what we fought over, which is normally flashlights and peanuts.
Yeah.
Normally. If you bring some good nuts, some pistachios or cashews or something.
Yeah.
Oh, or you bring some Reese cups. Oh man, I think that's what I made a child cry over last year, was stealing Reese cups.
Nice.
And we did a family one, like Christmas Day, with my sister, brother-in-law, mom, dad, me, Jackie, and Nate, and we did like a white elephant exchange thing just for us. But my sister had this idea of like, let's do, I think it was like a $25-$30 Temu Christmas. And so you don't remember anything that we opened out of these Temu things, but it was all wild things.
Yeah.
It was nothing, that you would go out and buy for yourself, but that was the fun of it. Is like, I think my brother-in-law Jonathan, he put like 6 or 7 different like trucker hats.
Speaking of wild Christmas ideas, I do remember. So yesterday, my wife and I had to go to the mall, which is a place I haven't been in the.
What's a mall?
Yeah,
what is still around?
Yeah, they did not have a Cinnabon, but they had a Cinemonster, and the smells emitting from that place were just as good as a Cinnabon. I did not partake, but man, I wanted one so bad. But I know that there's going to be some food items as we get closer to Christmas that I'm going to want to partake in, so I have to choose the calories carefully.
I just, what I've been trying to do lately is just not be an asshole. When I see this stuff, is just not go normal ham and eat a whole pecan pie.
Exactly.
Because there's been so many like Thanksgivings or Christmas parties where we get 2 pecan pies because I'm going to eat one entire pecan pie.
I'm going to make myself sick on pecan pie.
I love it so good. Especially like a U-Cross pecan pie. Woo!
Being at the mall yesterday, I went to Spencer's. And I do remember when I went to the Navy, I came home once I graduated boot camp and went to school in Florida.
Wait, we just can't skip over that there was a Spencer's still at a mall.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm getting to the Spencer's. So we're walking around Spencer's, and you want to talk about something, some wild gift ideas. But I do remember one time when I came home from the Navy, I went to the Spencer's at Regency Mall, and I wanted all of us to kind of have something together, like our little friend group. And so I bought these lager beer glasses that had bikinis painted on them. I don't know if you remember, but I gave you one, I gave Art one, I gave Bubba one, and then I had one as well. It was a set of 4 beer glasses.
Oh, man, I don't remember.
Yeah, but I was walking in there yesterday because there was a set of...
Was it the same set?
It wasn't this. Had it been the same set, I would have purchased it yesterday. It was not the same set, but they had a set of... They had a coffee mug that had a set of boobies on it that was spring-loaded, so when you touched them, they bounced up and down.
Spencer's has always been the wildest
it was just crazy, but it was good to go in there, and it's gotten wilder over the last 20 years.
Yeah, like why they let 16-year-olds come in here and buy stuff was beyond me back in the day.
Yeah, I think my wife said they went because they had some band shirts that my daughter liked, and so my daughter went in there. She was 14 at the time. Went there and picked them out, and my wife was going in there to pay for them. The little one went in there with her. My wife told her, "Whatever you do, just look at the candy."
Oh man.
Yeah.
Was there any other cool stores in the mall though? I haven't been in a mall.
I mean, they had the reason we went over there was for Hot Topic. So they had a Hot Topic. They had a Journeys.
Oh, you got to get your all your band gear there.
Exactly. Yeah. So, she's not going to listen to this podcast, and she already knows that she went to for her birthday. You talked about purchasing experiences for the kids. For her birthday, she went to see this. She wanted to see this band, Pierce the Veil, and they're kind of like a punk rock emo. I don't know how to describe. I'm probably inaccurately describing them. It's not something I'm into. But if it's something that she's into, I'm going to support her 100%.
Yeah.
So for her 14th birthday, I bought her tickets to go to the show, and my wife went with her. It was the day before Thanksgiving, so they went a couple weeks ago, and she loved it. And then she started asking, because they're coming back to Virginia. This time they're coming. That concert was at Chartway Arena in Norfolk at the Christopher Newport campus. They're coming back in April or May to Bristow, which is like an outdoor concert venue. And she wants to go so bad, and I told her, look, I just lost my job. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, I don't know if we can do it. But as we get closer to the event, I'm sure they're not gonna sell out of the lawn section. Yeah, so that's where you want to be anyway, is in the lawn. When you go to an event like that,
Yeah,
that's
you want to be with the people.
Exactly. And I told her she's way too young to be up front, like mosh pitting and stuff like that. So. But yeah, we've already bought the tickets for her.
And I feel like she's a little bit reserved, a little bit too quiet to get up in there and mosh it.
Yeah, these are her people. She's definitely in her element when she went. My wife was telling me she was definitely with her group of people when she went to the show. So I'm so happy that she's finding her group of people, because the stuff that my daughter's into isn't stuff that like traditionally kids are into. She doesn't fit into like. She has a great group of friends at her school, and but she's not like the preppy girl, which is fine. I love that she loves to color her hair, and I just want her to be comfortable as her.
Yeah, don't knock preppy people though.
Yeah, no, I had a ton of preppy friends, and like, I mean, even as
I remember my senior year, I had a American Eagle credit card. That's how deep I was down it.
Oh man, I remember. I think my grandparents gave me a Regency gift card for Christmas one year, and I learned that year that like, if you had a store gift card, you had to spend all the money at the store. But if you had a mall gift card, they had to give you the cash back. And so I went and got. I think the only piece I ever owned from Abercrombie and Fitch was an Abercrombie and Fitch hat, and I thought I was the coolest kid in the world.
Because it's probably the only thing me and you could wear inside that store.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That cologne.
Yeah, I would not say I was their target demographic.
Yeah, we definitely were not. We definitely had friends who definitely were though.
Oh yeah, yeah. We definitely had friends that were big Abercrombie and Fitch people. But yeah, things like that. Being around the holidays, is not great for everybody.
It's definitely not. And it's like, even when you're having a good time and a good holiday, it's not all easy either way. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that you get caught up in when you're having a good holiday season. And you kind of, I feel like you lose track because, you're so busy, like, oh, I got this party, I got to get something for this person and this person, that you forget like why you're doing it, and it becomes like a chore.
Exactly. Then you can't enjoy it when it becomes something you just have to do.
Yeah.
We started doing something this year where my wife and I sat down and talked about it, and like, instead of trying to do everything, let's just do one thing a week and make it super important that we do it as a family. So last week we went to this living nativity walkthrough thing at this church up in Ashton called Slash Church, and they do it every other year. And there's another church that so they do it on the even years, and then another church does it on the odd years. And they have this area behind their church. It's like a wooded area. You walk this path, and they've designed it like Bethlehem or um, and it tells the story of Jesus' birth. This one was called "Why the Star," and so you follow around the path from when the angel Gabriel came to Mary and told her that she was become pregnant, and the angel came to Joseph and told him, that he was going to be the father to this child, and they were going to name him Jesus. And then it follows them on their trip to Bethlehem, where there was no room anywhere for him because of the census and everything, and so it finally winds up in the manger, and then the baby Jesus is there, and it follows. It's really cool, but we get to do it as a family. I wish we had signed up for the Saturday or Sunday experience because the Friday was so cold. It was like 22 degrees out there.
Hey.
But afterwards, you go into the fellowship hall, and they have hot chocolate and cookies, and activities for the kids to do. And then today, the day that we're recording this, Friday the 13th, we're going to another church called West End Assembly of God, and they do a big performance every year, and they kind of tell two different stories. They tell the story. They do one story that's based around the birth of Jesus, and they do more of a contemporary, modern story about Christmas. And they have live animals that come through the sanctuary, and it's a whole production where the angels. I think they have some kind of equipment in the ceiling where the angels actually fly in.
I know, it's so awesome.
And they have a live orchestra. And my kids had never had that experience before. We went once or twice as a kid, and then my wife and I went a couple of years ago. And I think I'm going to start that as a tradition to make sure that we get tickets for that every year.
Yeah, when I was younger, we used to go every year with my Grandma Butterfly.
Grandma Butterfly's the best.
Yeah, dude. But every year she would take us as a family, and there was nothing cooler than the camel walking in.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you don't... Like, I used to love bringing somebody else who didn't know what was about to happen. Like, we'd always bring a friend or somebody.
Yeah.
And be like, why is there a camel in the church?
I wonder how many times that camel has had to relieve himself inside. It's happened before.
Yeah. And like you said, the angels flying from the ceiling.
Yeah. And they do it's a live orchestra as well.
Yeah.
You can kind of, if you're seated right, they're above the stage, but you can kind of see the conductor up there and some of the people that are in the orchestra. They're above the stage, kind of behind a curtain. But if you look up, you can see them up there. It's a fantastic production. It's a good ministry that they have.
All right. What else? Let's see.
We kind of touched base a second ago on, the holidays aren't perfect for everybody, They talk about seasonal depression.
Sad.
Yeah. And I have a friend of mine that I used to work with who back in 2021 lost his mom and his brother both to COVID. And then this year just lost his cat. And he's a single guy, no wife, no girlfriend, no kids. His mom and his brother were the only family that he had. And his cat died this year. And his cat was really all he had. And, it's like, he lost his cat. But, man, he's taking it rough.
Yeah.
And, he would go to work and he'd come home to his apartment. And it's just him and his cat. And that was what he had. And now he talked about, employers that should offer a bereavement period for pet loss and stuff like that. I know these holidays are going to be so hard for him.
Yeah. I mean, that's where the loss of a loved one can really hurt because, you're supposed to be spending a holiday season with that person. Mm-hmm. And now you don't get to.
Yeah, we recently lost my grandfather. You lost your grandfather this year. My wife lost her mom, and their birthday is next week. They shared a birthday, December 17th. Happy early birthday, Beth. And Oma. But she lost her mom, and so I know this holiday season is going to be particularly hard for her because her mom lived with us for the last 10 years. So she's been a huge part of a lot of our Christmas traditions, being in the home with us. And, the kids miss her. I miss her. I know my wife misses her. But.
Yeah, it was really cool when Nate was first born. Grandma Butterfly would come stay at our house Christmas Eve, so she would get to do like Christmas Eve with us, and then that way she was already there for Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So cool.
My kids always want to open a gift on Christmas. And
well, of course, you mean Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve, yeah. They want to open all of them on Christmas. They want to open all of them on Christmas Eve too. The ones that are out.
Getting to open one gift Christmas Eve.
Oh yeah, and
that might have been a more satisfying gift than waiting and opening all the gifts on Christmas Day.
They would always open a gift from Oma on Christmas Eve, and it was always pajamas. So they'd have like a fresh set of pajamas or whatever, Christmas jammies, and it's like we usually let them open one other package too, because if you know you're getting Christmas jammies, why wrap it? But Oma would buy them the Christmas jammies every year, and sorry.
It's all right. Take your time.
It's going to be rough without it this year.
Yeah.
And I know it's 10 times harder on my wife than it is on me. But, just try to be patient and loving and...
But like you said, the last 10 years, I mean...
Yeah. And so, hold on, let me get a drink of this water.
Take your time, man. I mean, we both knew that at some point somebody was crying.
Yeah.
We didn't think we were going to make it past episode 1, so...
Episode 1, except for the audio, went really well.
Yeah.
This time of the year, it's hard for me too. So Christmas 2004, I was on deployment, and we were in Hong Kong for Christmas. We pulled into port to spend the holiday in Hong Kong, China, and the day after Christmas, Canadian Boxing Day, a tsunami hit the region down there in Southeastern Asia. And we all got called back to the ship, and when we pulled out of port, we had a different mission. I was on the USS Abraham Lincoln, and we went down there for 43 days. We were kind of on station to help. We were in the Banda Aceh, Sumatra area of Indonesia, one of the harder hit areas. And just to think about what those guys went through, you think, it was the day after Christmas, and, people are in town, people are vacationing there, and they, just a literal wall of water. The water literally ran out to sea. And then, a lot of these people that live off of the ocean there, now fish are literally flopping on the sand. People are running out, past what would typically be the shoreline to pick these fish up. And next thing you know, they're staring down a wall of water. Because once those tectonic plates shifted and stuff like that, once they shifted back, that wall of water came back rushing into the town. And unfortunately, thousands upon thousands of people lost their lives. And we were down there for 43 days to help. We helped in medical tents, and we delivered food, and we were kind of on a water restriction for a little while because the plumbing guys on the ship had made this system where they could fill up a lot of 5-gallon water jugs at one time. And so we were on the carrier. We make our own fresh water. We take seawater and what they call desalinate it, pull the salt out of it and make it into fresh drinkable water. And so we were limited on showers and stuff like that, and how much water we were using for our cooking processes. And we were trying to get as much fresh water as we could to them. And you would even just being on the ship, you would not even, mentioning going inland to help out. Just being on the ship, you would literally see people's homes float out to sea. You would see roofs. You would see, people's memories just float out to sea. And so I have what they call moral trauma, or so my diagnosed PTSD through the VA. I have what they call moral trauma, so it's not like combat-related trauma or anything like that. It's basically like a survivor's remorse. Like, I know that it wouldn't have been financially responsible for the United States to keep us there, But I felt like even when we left, we stayed until we were part of this thing called um, Operation Unified Assistance. And so we were on site for 43 days until they were able to get the hospital ship Mercy, USNS Mercy. It's our hospital ship that we have. So they were able to get some of the Red Cross hospital ships out there, and they were able to help. They're better prepared and more trained than we are. And it costs millions of dollars a day to run an aircraft carrier. So keeping it on site over there would not have been fiscally responsible for the United States. But I just felt like there was so much more that needed to be done when we left. And, so I have kind of like a survivor's remorse about that.
So does Christmas add to that too?
Yeah, so around the holiday season, having the kids.
Or is it like right after Christmas?
Yeah, so right after Christmas, New Year's, that time period, we were there from, I think we got there about, I want to say December 30th. We spent New Year's there, and we were there until like the second week of February. So this time of year just gets, any time of year that we have to deal with natural disasters, just take, I handle it, I take it tough, it's hard on me. When we had Katrina, that was specifically hard on me. Even afterwards with the whole Brian Williams thing where he said he saw things that he could only mirror to what happened over in Indonesia. Like, I went through a period where I didn't sleep for like 4 days. Like, I had to go see a doctor at the VA to get some medication to help me sleep. I would just sit up and just be zoned out. And my wife was like, finally was like, I think we need to get you some help. I was waking up disoriented, cold sweats, didn't know where I was. I would have these nightmares. And so I went and talked to some people at the VA and went on some medications for a while. And those weren't for me, the medications they were prescribing. But, through counseling and stuff like that, I've definitely gotten easier. Definitely hasn't gone away. But I have different coping skills and, coping mechanisms that I can use. And
well, that's what it's about, is finding coping mechanisms or the skills to, work on these.
This is the first year that I have, that I can remember in the last decade that I really felt like in the Christmas spirit, and it's, I'll tell you what, it feels good to feel good.
Yeah. When you started telling your story, before it went real dark real quick, I was just picturing you running around, this giant ginger just running around for Christmas. There seems nothing more Christmas than you running around the giant ginger just running around
with
being a giant elf almost.
Yeah, with I've always said that there's this thing called like the National Association of Real Bearded Santas, and they go on these cruises. I've done probably an unhealthy amount of research on this, but they go on like these cruises and they take classes and stuff like that on how to be a better Santa. Santa has a lot of helpers. Santa can't be in every mall, and with the death of the mall shopping experience, I thought, man, I probably won't get to be a real bearded Santa. But there's definitely opportunities out there, and it's something that as I get into the later stages of my life,
you're finally starting to turn white in the beard.
The beard is starting to get there. The beard. So, like I said, this year's the first year I really felt in the Christmas spirit, and like I said, the house is decorated. The tree, usually it's like a week before Christmas, before the tree goes up, and but this year the tree was up earlier. The house was decorated. I'm pretty convinced that the day after Christmas I'm gonna be at Walmart trying to buy as many LED Christmas lights as I can for a discounted price.
See you at 12 a.m.
Yeah, but as soon as Walmart opens up, I will be there in the Christmas section trying to get all the discounted lights.
I need every inflatable you got, stat.
I may not be on the Tacky Light Tour this year, but we're definitely progressing in that direction.
One of my talking about lights and Christmas, me and my wife would always go to Steven's grandmother's house Christmas Eve.
Yes,
because we would a lot of times like our we go to church on Christmas Eve, and then we'd go straight from church to Steven's grandmother's house.
Yeah.
And I remember, either his grandmother would be outside, sitting in her chair, passing out candy canes or just talking to people. Or if we got lucky enough, she would be inside, so we'd have to go inside to say hello.
Oh, or
and watching people's faces when you walk in or out of a house. This, like, literally won TV shows for Tacky Lights.
Yes, they were on. I know that she passed away a couple years ago.
Was it Fight Christmas or something?
Yeah, it was on TLC.
Yeah,
but it was like a competition they did between her family and then a family out in Mechanicsville.
The Pfeiffer house.
Yeah, and the Pfeiffer house, and she, even my kids knew who she was. We'd take her over there. We'd take them over there, and she'd be sitting in her chair,
bundled up,
all bundled up with her blanket on, handing out candy canes, and
then it became two houses.
Oh yeah, then when her son bought the house next door, and I don't know if they're doing anything this year.
Oh yeah, the Pfeiffer house is still there.
Is it? I know they definitely toned it down as to what it was.
Yeah.
But he was, her son would rent bucket trucks to get the lights up in the trees, and
it's a lot of work, but it makes such a big difference, especially here because we don't get white Christmases and stuff like that.
So, sometimes we get Christmas with shorts on.
Yeah, and so it's it doesn't have that feeling. It just feels like gross outside. Just a bunch of dead trees and leaves everywhere, and it's not until the lights start popping up, and you get to start seeing them, and then you start feeling it. But I pulled up a list that I thought was pretty handy, so we can help be better every day. It's our podcast, so I wanted to give this cool article I found from the National Council of Aging. And I guess since we're aging, it's applies to us.
Speak for yourself. I'm way younger than you are.
But it's 9 self-care tips to support your mental health, well-being during the holidays. And so I thought it was a pretty good list, first of all. But I also thought that, let's help support others, this holiday season. So, like, number 1 on the list is practicing gratitude. And I think that that's something that really gets lost in this time of year. Because, I feel like you feel it in the little moments, but you don't remember to think about it like you should. And this has, like, 2 examples for that one. And this is, like, start a gratitude jar, where you write down an experience down on a piece of paper and place it in a jar. And
I like that.
And then each month, if you need a little gratitude or something, you just pull it out of the jar and read what you wrote. Or starting a gratitude journal, which I thought was a good idea too. And then number 2 was acknowledging your feelings, which is a pretty good thing to remember to do. Have an emotional checklist even for the holidays. But it's one of those things that I feel like gets lost. Because, there's so many people, like, you're trying to go to parties, and there's so many different people at parties. And, you're just trying to, like, go with the flow and keep everyone happy. And then number 3 was a really good one, I think, is learning to say no. And I think that applies to every day.
Yeah.
Now, it's not just, like, to keep you healthy during the holidays. That's something that I think a lot of people need to.
And that's hard for you and I because we're both people pleasers.
Oh, exactly. And I just want to, be able to help somebody.
Exactly. I love helping other people. Like, that's one thing that's been instilled on me as a child. But I need to remember that, like we talked about before, like, you got to put your own mask on first sometimes. And sometimes, I know we both have wound up helping others to the detriment of ourselves at times.
Oh, 100%. Number 4, be realistic about the holidays. And I like it. It says there are only 24 hours in a day. Make a list of all the events and obligations you have during the holiday season and prioritize them. And I was like, that's simple and that's smart.
And that's like what I was talking about, like what we're trying to do this year. Instead of trying to run around and do everything, let's do one event a week as a family. And if we have other things that we, have to, we can squeeze them in if we can. But we're going to set aside that time once a week, to make sure that we're doing something as a family.
Yeah, it's smart. And it's something you could add to your gratitude jar now.
Exactly.
So you just got a twofer right there. Boom. Look at that. Number 5 is stick to healthy habits, which is pretty interesting right now, considering that we're still working on creating a bunch of these healthy habits. But I think this holiday season, I feel like we both have a different outlook, and so I think like it gives examples of your diet for the holiday season. And we've already talked about the food and stuff.
Exactly. And the thing with it is we just have to be realistic. There's going to be opportunities to make poor decisions as far as diet goes. And maybe sometimes getting wrapped up in some of the events puts exercise on the back burner. One thing I had to realize, we're going to talk about here in a second, is sleep. I'm not sleeping well.
Yeah, it's next on the list right there.
Yeah, I try to make sure that, like, me and my wife, we love both staying up late at night. It's when we play board games. It's when we found this new game that she's played before as a child called Rumikube.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it? It's kind of like Rummy, but it's with these tiles. They're like dominoes, kind of. And they have numbers 1 through 13 printed on them in 4 different colors. And there's 2 jokers. And so it's kind of like Rummy, where you can make a run or a set. But you don't have to draw a card every time. You start with 14 tiles on your little platform, and then you have if you can't make a run or a set or add on to a run or set that's already on the board, you do have to draw one from the pile. But that draw pile is once you draw from the pile, it ends that turn for you. But the cool thing is, once those jokers are on the board, those jokers aren't permanently attached to that runner set. So you can pull it away. You can replace that. Like, let's say there's a 3, 4, 5. You have a 3 and a 5 that are red in your hand, and you have a joker. So you can play the joker as the red 4. Well, if you have the red 4, on your next go, you can put the red 4 down and pull the joker out and move the joker to another runner set to get as many of your tiles out of your hand as possible. It's so much fun. I'm not doing it justice explaining it.
YouTube it.
Yeah, I will. I'll bring it over for you.
Yeah, we'll play. And then also in this subset was diet, and then you brought up sleep, and then the next is exercise, which is we're both working on that. I mean, we both did we just went on a mile walk before we even started the podcast, which I think was good because I was really tight sitting here before you got here, so it kind of helped loosen me up. So
yeah, and I think we're both carrying things into the podcast that we needed to get off our chest before we brought it in here with us.
Yeah, I think so too, for sure. Number 6 is get creative. Creativity comes in various forms, and the world is your oyster. Try coloring, painting, or making crafts. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And it also brings up holiday baking.
Yeah, we had got these wooden, I don't want to call them ornaments because they're not ornaments, but we get these wooden things from the dollar store. And I had gotten a truck that had a Christmas tree in the back of it. It's probably 6 inches long by 4 inches tall. And my wife had gotten these new Sharpie paint pens. And they're so cool. And I just sat down and I painted the truck blue with a red door. And I put little white wall tires on it and painted the tree green. And for that 20 minutes that I was like coloring that little wooden thing was so peaceful. I have to find time to sit down and color more because
I know. I remember during the pandemic, we got a bunch of coloring books when all the kids were home, and we were coloring the pictures and hanging them in the front window. And I remember that the kids would be bored of coloring, and I'm just like in the zone.
It's your happy place.
Like,
yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll find me here. I'll still be here. And that's a good idea. I need to go get me a coloring book. Number 7 is give or serve others. and it brings up volunteering, and that's definitely something I'm missing right now is not volunteering.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities to volunteer.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, because until September, I was volunteering twice a week, every week.
it is easy to kind of focus on what you don't have, but there's so many people that have so much less than us.
Oh yeah,
We're so
100%.
blessed. Even without a job right now, and I'm so much more blessed than other people are. Um, and I just have to remember that it's easy to focus on the negativity, and think about the things that you don't have, or the money you don't have, or you know, everybody else has got this new thing that I want that I can't have. Man, I'm so thankful for the stuff that I have. I'm so blessed, and I think I just, you know, need to take those opportunities to bless others.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think volunteering after doing it for like a year and a half every week,
Mm-hmm.
um, I didn't realize what I was missing out on.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, um, helping others or giving back, like how much it gave to me. They always say it's better to give than receive, and you don't think about it all the time. And then when you get out there, like for me, when I was out talking to people, and like a lot of times when I didn't think that it was going well, would be at the end of that when somebody would come up and really thank me, or multiple people would thank me for coming out, and and when somebody tells you that, oh, you gave me hope, that's powerful. And I remember one time last December, I ended up doing a presentation at a college, a junior college, and I thought it was just going to be a normal presentation of like 5 to maybe 15 people at most. And then you walk in, it's like a room of 100 people. And it made it sound like I was going to be on a panel and I might answer a couple questions, maybe.
And it's solo.
And now, luckily, I had awesome co-presenter Tara.
Awesome.
And but it turned in from like, oh crap, I didn't bring any of my notes because I thought I was just going to be answering a few questions until we did our presentation, and it was a line of people waiting to talk to us. And this lady told me, I'll never forget it, she came up, she like waited to talk to me, and she was like, I see the greatness in you. And like, even saying it now, like I'm getting chills right now, even like for somebody to say, hey, I see you, and I can see that there's greatness in you. Talk about powerful stuff.
Big.
Especially around a holiday. Like, man, you feel like almost invincible. Almost it feels like. But we'll move on to number 8, which is journal. And it's something I'm working on getting back into. It's something I was doing a lot better at when I had a morning routine that I stuck to. It's something I'm trying to work on getting back in. And we'll talk. Definitely will talk about that more next week when we talk about the coming up New Year's.
New year, new you.
Yeah. Even though you could just make a new you tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't wait till January 1 to start. Start now. You got each new moment is a new moment to shift your mindset a little bit. And then number 9 on this list is reach out. If you're feeling isolated or alone, reach out to your support network. If you or someone you love is experiencing mental health crisis, call 988, which I'm glad they brought up because I had wrote it down in my notes over here. I wanted to bring that up. And also, depending on your area, if you search your area, wherever you're at, there's probably a place that has a warm line that you can call and talk to somebody, a person. Like I was looking up different warm lines here, and I just there was a bunch. There's too many to bring up. So I just want to leave it at that. If you're ever feeling like you need to reach out and talk to somebody, remember you can call or text 988, and I think you can email too. But there's also a bunch of warm lines. I've almost volunteered at multiple different warm lines. Outside of that, that was my list that I found that I thought could be pretty helpful for, it was helpful for me to read it. And so I figured I'd pass it along to help, hopefully help other people. So let's talk about next week. I think, actually, let's talk about,
week.
You want to talk about last week?
Well, let's talk about, we set those goals for last week. Let's talk about weight loss for a second.
Yeah, so we talked and we decided we're going to weigh ourselves every day of the podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm weighing myself every day, which is so
too
unhealthy.
Much.
It's
too
so
much.
unhealthy. And I told the lady because the program that I'm doing through the VA is called Move. I talked about it briefly last week. It requires you to weigh yourself every day. And there was a couple days, they sent me this scale that Bluetooth this tablet they sent me. And she goes on every so often and checks to make sure that I'm answering the questions on the tablet and that I'm weighing myself and putting my steps in for the day. And there's been a couple times where the scale hasn't communicated with the tablet. Like, I have weighed myself and then, but it's like, it's frustrating because I'll have like a good day where I will drink my water like I'm supposed to. I'll eat what I'm supposed to. And then I'll get on the scale the next day and you've gained 3 pounds.
Well, like you've told me this over the phone multiple times about the different fluctuations. And I know from experience that you should probably only weigh yourself once a week.
Exactly.
It's the healthiest way to do it. Because if you weigh yourself every day, you're focusing on a number, not on how you feel, not on a bad day.
And the days I eat junk, I'll get on the scale the next day and I've lost 2 pounds, and I'm like, what in the like? It doesn't make sense. But I realize there's a lot of factors that go into it and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you like eat a bunch of carbs the day before, the carbs will make your body hold more water weight.
Exactly.
It's something a lot of people don't know about. And it can take you up to 3 days to help wash that water weight back out of you. Because I know this from when I was really dieting good. I would eat like crap on Sundays because it was like Sunday fun day. I would go to church.
Cheat day,
yeah, cheat day, exactly. And then if you wait, I would only weigh myself on Fridays. Because, well, one, research showed that it's not healthy to weigh yourself every day. There's studies out there that show it's not conducive to your mental health. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make it worse on myself. But I would only weigh myself once a week. But then sometimes when I got to a good spot, I would weigh myself after a bad day. And then I would see how long it would take to flush that water weight back out or get that junk back out of you. And it takes up to 3 days. And studies show that it can take that long.
So I am going to finish this. I'm in like week 6 or 7 of this 16-week program. I'm going to finish the program because there's benefits to finishing the program. It gives you access to other options, medical options, if you complete the MOVE program.
Do you have to look at the app? Or can you just... Will the scale send the results to the app, or do you have to plug it in?
The scale has to announce it out loud before it'll Bluetooth to the computer.
That sucks. I was going to say...
I might go back and read the menu, see if I can put a mute function on it.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, if you could just... If the scale communicates to the app, then you could just cover the numbers up until...
Yeah, but I have to hit submit, and then...
Oh,
so it's the whole thing. But like I said,
I mean, it is healthy. I mean, you're probably once you're deeper into it, you'll start noticing these trends. Like
I'm down 31 pounds since October 13th.
My man.
So I mean, or 30, I guess, 31 pounds. I've lost 9 pounds since last week.
Nice, dude.
I was 395. I rated today at 386.
Awesome, dude. Last time we recorded, I was 360. And now I'm 357.
Nice.
And I didn't really try to do anything. The only thing I was working towards is I set up that, since my pinched nerve back in May, I haven't been walking as much and haven't been getting steps. So I was just trying to set a goal of maybe trying to get 5,000 steps a day. And since you gave me the new watch that actually tracks a little bit better than the free Temu watch that was way off. I realized that in the last 7 days of recording, I've gotten 6,500 steps each day.
Whoa, whoa.
So I was really surprised, and I had 2 days. Well, I had one day where I got just above 10,000 steps, and I hadn't done that since May.
That's awesome.
And then last night, I ran out of time. I realized it was like 11:55, and I needed 600 steps. And by the time, since it was so cold outside, by the time I found my hoodie and my shoes and stuff, I was only able to like close the distance just a little bit. So I was like,
but you put a dent in it.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I couldn't believe I was almost at 10,000 steps again, twice in 1 week.
That's awesome.
So
I think I have to give myself a little more grace. That's what I have to work on. Is because, I came out the gate firing on all cylinders. And that's very easy to do.
Yeah, and that's what
progress, and it's not maintainable sometimes.
Yeah.
We're going to have times like, starting weight loss in October, with the holidays right around the corner, you have to give yourself a little bit of grace because there are going to be meals that you have that may not fit the diet that you're trying to have, or, they make it harder to make great decisions. And, there's going to be activities that come along. Like at the end of the day, I've been busy putting up Christmas lights, and while I've been walking across the yard, maybe I'm not getting the same amount of steps in, but it's been so much better for my mental health.
Yeah. Maybe you do get the same amount of steps in, but maybe it's not as intense.
Exactly.
But you're getting your steps in, and research really shows that as long as you get over 7,000 steps, the difference between 7 and 10 is really pretty negligible. Because most people who are getting more than 7,000 steps in a day are moving all day.
Exactly.
So
I used to carry mail. I was a mailman for a little while when I came home from the Navy.
What's that, like 20-some thousand steps?
I can't imagine how many. You want to talk about somebody who's in the best shape of their life? I mean, when they say rain, snow, sleet, hail, wind, it doesn't matter. They're out there. You are out there. And luckily, it's not. We don't get terrible. We have some bad days in Richmond, in the Richmond area. We don't have a lot of terrible days that string together. So,
we're lucky.
But I was walking like 5 miles a day on my route, and that was just like the distance I was coming. That doesn't include the stairs and stuff when I had to carry mail up to people's houses, or the in the one area of town they had these old huge houses where they had they had these little tiny letter slots from when the house was originally built in like the 30s, and letters were the only thing getting mailed. Now they're getting LL Bean catalogs, and you're trying to shove them to a letter slot, But I can't imagine the amount of steps I was getting back then.
All right, dude, we busted out 70 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so I think for now we'll keep them close to an hour.
We're going to try our best to keep them close to an hour.
What else do you want to add before we end?
Oh, I want to cover one thing real quick. Do we call it podding or casting or podcasting or?
I think we just call it whatever the hell we want to.
Yeah. I'm going to call it a good conversation with a great friend.
Yeah. And I think that's what it's going to be.
All right. I love you, dude.
I love you too. We did it last time, so I guess I'm going to keep doing it and do my quote of the day. And since we switched to Fridays, they're normally going to be funny on Fridays. And so today's quote was, "Cheer up, dude. It's Christmas." The Grinch. Thanks, everybody. Be better every day.
Be better every day.